Bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about bros and heroes. Gonna tell you about
comic books, costumes, facts,
Boots.
and other stuff.
In this week's issue, AniMax. Not sure why I screamed that.
Welcome into Bros, Foes, and Heroes. I'm Zach, joined as always by the one, the only, the man, myth, dare I say legend, Mr. Mike.
That seems like an awful lot of setup.
Well, I said dare I say.
Yeah, I don't think you dare.
Okay.
That I can only disappoint at that point.
Ooh.
You know?
All right. Well, I think apparently more of Mike than Mike does of
I like
himself.
to keep the bar good and low.
No, I get that, because then who can you let down?
Step over
right?
it is what I would like to do, yeah.
If you haven't listened to us before, hi. Welcome.
Hi.
If not,
That's how we start shows. Hi.
All
How
right.
are you?
And if you have, thanks for coming back. Now let's go
Yeah.
ahead and get into
Thank
this
you,
week's
guys.
show. Just, okay.
I feel a theme.
We do have a theme going,
Yeah.
Mike, and I know that last week I kind of teased it a little bit with.
Yeah, you did.
I straight up told you what we were going to cover. But yeah, we covered a group of animals in like cyborg suits that could hold guns.
Yeah, they were like
called
mech suits.
Brute force,
Dolphin.
Another thing we'll find out, which I think is a theme through these, is that somehow the bad guys look cooler in brute force.
Yeah. So the bad animals that they fight against.
Oh, they were called. Sorry, God.
No, you're good. What were they called? I don't remember. It was
Heavy
Brute Force
metal.
and Heavy Metal.
Not to be
That's right.
confused.
They even
with
have a
the
better
movies.
name.
Yeah, that is true.
Yeah.
You ever
Did
watched a heavy metal?
Oh, I love the first one. The second one sucks, but the
I'm
first
gonna
one's
tell
wonderful.
you that I'm a poser, that I know what it is.
Yeah.
I'm the guy, and I don't know a side. We're gonna go off on this little side track
Sure.
real quick. I'm the guy who likes to know a lot about everything, even if I haven't seen it.
Sure.
Just because, I get interested and I read about things, so I know of things.
Yeah.
I know how heavy metal came to be. I know that there's two heavy metals because they made another one. I even know about the whole kind of underground cartoon movement. There was Fritz the Cat and all.
Yeah.
I know about all that, but I've seen images or maybe even clips, but I've never seen the movies all the way through.
I was gonna say that this is Ralph Bakshi, but I may be incorrect. Am I right in that?
I think you're right. Or at least that's who did Fritz the Cat, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. And
he did Wizards.
Yes, he did do Wizards. Yeah. He did the Lord of the Rings cartoon.
They did. There were two, and
it was a Hobbit and it was Lord of the Rings.
Okay.
Yeah.
Which I've seen before, and while they're weird, they're not bad.
They're creepy.
But they're story-wise, they're not bad.
The story's good. And one thing that he used to do in his art, which always I have a vested interest in art and media and stuff like that. And so when I see something, I'm like, I try to figure out how they did it, right?
Yeah.
And he would always have these things that glow. Something would glow, either like a bad guy's eyes or the ring or whatever, would glow. And it was like this, I don't know. I never really figured out how he did it. Now, I do want to say, if we're talking heavy metal, which of course this is a heavy metal only podcast,
real quick, the other one I was thinking of, Fire and Ice, but also Cool World.
Remember I forgot about Cool World.
Pitt?
Yeah.
Sorry.
This had the original heavy metal. I did not realize had John Candy and Joe Flaherty from SCTV in it.
Really?
Yeah, they did some of the voices, which is crazy to me. But okay, great. And Heavy Metal 2000 was the second one, and I will never be able to disassociate it with Blues Brothers 2000 because they came out about the same time,
and they both 2000.
And they both sucked balls.
It's funny that you say that because I remember one of my favorite. There was a trend around that time, around 99.
Yeah.
To be like, it's
make a second one.
Not just
and it's never died, by the way, since they started it.
Sports games, you obviously were by year because that's how they were. But I remember wrestling games always had cool names, but one that came out was WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah. Everybody was into the 2000. Once we figured out we weren't going to die with the Y2K thing, then everybody was into 2000.
I'll be honest with you, and this this probably makes me sound dumb.
Sure.
But as a 12-year-old,
Yeah.
11-year-old, no, I was 11. I was nervous there for a bit.
Were you?
I was like,
Really?
after I waited, and I was like, all right, it's been like an hour. Everything seems cool.
How old were you?
It's like 11 in 2012. 12. I was 12 in 2000.
In 2000. Wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm about to turn 35. Mike.
I was 31 at that time.
Dude, see, here's what's weird because, like, I
30,
mean,
I
no,
guess, but yeah.
I mean, no disrespect by this,
whatever.
but
I don't care.
But like sitting across from me, like here, like I don't feel like there's that big of an age gap between the two of us.
Yeah.
But when you say it like that,
I stay current with the kids.
yeah. You know what's sad is that
I get the slap bracelets and the sticky things you throw on your ceiling.
my wife likes to tell me sometimes when I roll through wearing my hat backwards, she references how I look like that Steve Buscemi meme of, "Hey, cool kids, what are you?"
Yeah, where are the drugs, kids?
Yeah, like that always makes me feel good.
Or like the dog on The Simpsons. You remember the cool dog on the skateboard in The Simpsons?
That Homer voice.
Yeah, it was like Rad Dog or something like that.
I can't remember his name, but yeah.
Something rad. I mean, I think Radical was in the name somewhere.
Oh, I'm sure, but I can't remember. I'm not going to look that up. All right, so let's get back to what we're wearing. So we have a theme.
So
we got way off course. But we have a theme in a way here.
Animals in suits.
No, it's not animals in suits. It's worse.
Oh.
This isn't where Marvel again tried to make something and hope that toy makers would come.
Yeah.
This is just to give a little bit of backstory. And if you want more, obviously there's a lot deeper you can dive into this. I'll just do a too long didn't read kind of type for it.
Yeah.
There is these toys end up being made. But the company that makes them end up being purchased by Tyco.
Okay.
And the reason Tyco bought the company who made the toys is for one specific toy that they were making. And so a lot of the other things they just kind of scrap because a lot of times, especially in like the 90s, it would seem like people would buy businesses, keep what they wanted of it, either sell off the rest or just get rid of it.
Yeah.
So that's what happened. So
that happened a lot in the computer world. So you'd see software and all kinds of stuff. Yeah,
exactly.
Microsoft's really bad at it.
So this was a idea that before when they were developing the toys that was brought to Marvel of like, hey, do you want to do a comic book for this?
Sure.
Yeah, sure. We'd love to. They go ahead and they start working on it. They get the story for it kind of to start to produce. But by the time the comics came out, Tyco had already bought and stripped everything away. So the toys were already gone by the time the comics were released.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And again, small tangent. It is nutty when you start looking at the toy world and the way that some of those companies were formed and what they became and what they put out and all that stuff. That's some wacky stuff.
I don't know if we've talked about this yet, and maybe I was talking to somebody else about it, and I apologize if I'm repeating myself, but I didn't realize, and this isn't to make anything political here about this at all, but that one of the moves that Reagan did was appoint a new head of the FCC when he was in office. Yeah. Who one of the first moves they did was repeal some of the guidelines
safety
and
laws.
regulations for kids programming. And so now toy companies in a way could kind of directly market to kids. And that's how we saw the run of G.I. Joe, Transformers. Yeah. Like He-Man was a toy before it was even a cartoon.
Sure.
Like, you saw things like that because these companies could then go straight after the kids.
I mentioned Thundar the Barbarian earlier before we started, and Thundar wouldn't have existed without He-Man and all that other stuff. So, yeah, there's all of that waterfall of things that happen after you do something like that. And honestly, I think that had a lot to do with Joe Camel also. Like, cigarette companies are looking at this and going, well, shit, we can do the same thing, you know? And so they invent Joe Camel.
But, and so that's what's funny is you kind of see a huge rise.
Yeah.
And then something that's not related to it gets in trouble. But then usually when that happens, people start looking other places for it.
It's like
and
now
you see it slowly start to decline.
It's like now where we're repealing all of these child labor laws. So that's fun.
Yeah.
Yeah. Really neat. Yeah. If we can get some more toddlers in factories, I think that this country has reached a certain level.
Well, if little Danny was the one who did the stitching around my cuff on the last shirt I bought.
Yeah.
He should have been fired anyway.
Yeah, you get what you pay for, and if you're paying a kid 1 cent an hour,
stitching.
Yeah, right, yeah.
I hope people realize that's a joke I'm making.
It is a joke.
Okay,
yes.
so let's go ahead and get into AniMax.
Kids.
The beauty of this too is that through things, and there's a bigger story, obviously, to the creation of these toys. I think the essential idea started from there's a lot of cars out there that are named after animals. What if animals were the cars themselves?
Yeah, that idea sucks.
Wow. Okay.
Yeah, that's a sucky idea.
Well,
and again, this is one of those things that comic book companies always come back to: animals. Right, like Captain Carrot
first.
and I'm just saying, for some reason, they think animals and robots and stuff like that ought to be married in these. It's just like Transformers with the Beast.
But these
thing.
are for kids. Don't you think that works for?
No, I think it's stupid.
Okay, no.
One or the other. I just like Transformers, huge property, right, for Hasbro for a long time. And then they were like, okay, let's make more. And then finally they got into the animal stuff. And that's when Transformers took a big nosedive. Like
Beast Wars.
Yeah. It was like that was their last ditch effort. So I'm assuming this is the last movie that's coming out now too. Where if you got a robot big gorilla, maybe we're done.
People seem to be excited about it. So
Okay.
I don't know. I mean, I'm not a big
people were excited for Trump too. So.
I'm waiting for the GoBots movie.
I want Micronauts.
Man, you know what? When they re-release the Ron omnibus next year, I feel like I should get some of that just so we can go over it.
I loved Rom.
Did you?
I really did. And like I said, I had the figure and the whole thing. He shot the laser out of his eyeball, and he has that one little strip across his eyes, right? And there was a red light that would come out. It was just a laser pointer in his head, but it was still cool as shit, He had a big ass gun. It was great.
I'm not like super familiar, so I need to kind of
you need to familiarize yourself with the ROM.
Let's get into AniMax. But so
by the way, the name of this, it should have 3 X's. And it should be animated porn. Is what this should be.
I think this is like early 90s, so it's a little bit before the multiple X's.
Sure. Well, I've been watching Parks and Rec again, and there's a character in it named Brandy Max. And she has 3 X's in her name, and that's just every time you say AniMax, I think Brandy Max.
I got you. Thankfully, because where we are at now, like there's a lot of people out there who love the world of comic books and love to get the inside stories of stuff, and people who are able to hang on to things and are able to tell, their side of stories that happened. We have, through the ability of all this over the years, an unpublished, what was supposed to be the first issue of the comic.
Gosh, really?
For some reason, this isn't the one that they published, and they started off with their version of issue 1. The reason we are going to go through the published one is because it explains things about, like, its backstory that the other issues don't tell you.
Yeah, the cover's identical.
It's
just all black and white.
They kept the same cover.
Yeah.
But essentially, just to get a brief view.
Well, except for that big blurb on the front, whatever that says.
There are a little changes. It's like they decided, I'm assuming this was supposed to be the opening splash page. Mm-hmm. And they decided to make it the cover from that and then go into everything else.
Yeah, because you don't normally see those kind of blurbs on the front covers.
But so from this issue, sometimes I think it was in the, did you ever listen to, and I'm not trying to like put you on blast, I'm just doing this just before I tell the story. I know we talked about Slugfest before. Where it was about the rivalry between DC and Marvel. There was a time in the 60s when Marvel started out selling DC, or when they were slowly, still doing so well, that DC would have meetings to look at Marvel's covers and figure out, it's got to be this. Like, is it because they have more word balloons than us on the cover?
Or is
it because they have less ones? Is it because they use this color? Oh no, it's because they, red as a
How about your content sucks? How about that?
That's what it was. But still, so back to AniMax, just to give you a little brief background into what AniMax is, as this unpublished comic was telling us back in 1990.
I think I paid for the AniMax channel for like 5 years. Didn't realize it was being taken out of my account.
Is that the animal version?
I don't know, man.
Okay. Earth the age of industrial revolution.
Oh.
I'm going to read from this. By the time that the great industrial wars had ended, the Earth had stopped rotating on its axis.
Oh, okay.
By the end of the 25th century,
25th century.
2 separate zones had appeared. There's essentially 2 sides of Earth.
How are
There's
they
a
living
light
on the planet if it's not? Okay. All right. I'm sorry. I'm listening.
Mike, sometimes I feel like
I put on my listening ears.
And I'm not saying this as like but you got to remember, we're in a comic book world.
Yeah,
sometimes
right.
logic's got to just go.
Absolutely right. I get it.
So it's the world's split into 2 sides. We have the light side, which you can already tell is the good side, and the night side.
It's not the dark side. It's the night side.
It's the night side. Okay. Light side, night side.
Because the Earth doesn't spin anymore.
Yeah.
So one side's going to be completely dark and frozen, by the way. Oh, okay. All right.
It's not, spoiler alert, it's not frozen once we get there through the whole series. Okay. But the peaceful light side is exposed to constant sunlight, and it's a lush paradise. That's where it's the home of the AniMax and their kind masters, their road trainers.
Okay.
And we're introduced to their jungle lair, which is brought up throughout the series too.
There's a lot of terms.
So I know I'm gonna give a lot to you.
Sure.
Just remember as much as you can, kind of like the names of the brute force.
Fire hose style.
You know?
Yeah.
When man depleted the Earth's natural resources, and again, I'm reading through this to give you backstory now.
Yeah.
That if you picked up the comic series in 1990, you never got any of this.
It's not in there at all?
No, for some reason, like some of it might be in some way, but yeah.
Wow.
Or at least not explained as well as it is here.
I'm sorry. Do we know when this was actually produced?
It was in the same time. Like it was just like, I think it was just like a sketch of what they.
So it wasn't like they did this and then 5 years later they finally put the comic book out.
No. This is all at the same time. I think
All right.
they put it together, decided to scrap apparently what was here, or since it's short, it's only 16 pages compared to their usually 24. This could have been like a test, kind of like, hey, this is what we're thinking. Okay, yeah, but let's do this instead.
I do think I remember this dude right here. The one with the weird panther head, like that guy.
Yeah.
He's got.
They do. That's the thing is they look familiar.
I think I do remember some of these
toys
guys.
were only on the shelves for, I think, a couple months at most. But in this, when man depleted the Earth's natural resources and one species of animal after another began to die out, scientists tried desperately to save them using bionics, cybernetics, and cloning.
Okay.
A process called, are you ready for it, Mike?
I'm ready.
Reincarnation.
Oh, boy.
And were able to combine the living essence of each animal with the mobility and durability of a vehicle. And so were born the AniMax.
So this is literally an embodiment of not can we, but should we.
Yeah, exactly.
Sure. Gotcha.
And we decided, why not?
What the hell? Earth stopped spinning.
Here's the thing. Earth stopped spinning. We were like, man, we really did finally ruin the Earth.
Yeah.
Animals are dying out. Should we learn our lesson here and be like, wow, remember when there used to be animals?
No, instead.
No, let's mix them with cars. Okay.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm not trying to knock the idea, because I know that this is obviously this is just something that you came up with to sell things, or toys to kids.
You're selling plastic.
I get that. Sure. I get that. So I realize that the idea doesn't always come with a story behind it to begin with, but this is
a goofy ass story.
So that's essentially what the AniMax are. Our first story here, we also are introduced to our team. We find that here we go. The main lion, if I could talk, lion AniMax is named Jungle Max.
Jungle Max, sure.
His driver or road trainer, master, whatever you want to call it, is named, are you ready for it? I want to make sure that I'm pretty sure it's Max Power. Yeah, it's Max Power.
Good Lord.
So Max Power,
and this is
Jungle Max.
Literally just a lion head on the front of a car.
It changes, I feel like, a little bit by the time we get to the actual series, but not a lot.
Wow.
We also meet a Turbo Tiger. I think some of the names might change a little bit.
Turbo Tiger. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, I'm sorry. I said max power. My apologies. See, this is what I was showing me. It's not max power. It's max action.
Max action. That's worse.
I knew it was max. So here we go.
Max action. From the Baltimore actions is what you're saying.
Exactly.
The old money family.
There is Turbo Tiger, who has his vehicle, his AniMax, which is Tiger Tracker with 2 Ks. So no extra X's, no extra X's, but we have extra Ks.
Yeah.
We're also
that's a slippery slope when you start adding Ks.
Yeah, for sure. We're also introduced to Rhinox.
Oh boy.
And his off-road Rhino Rammer. There's Tarmac and his Power Horse.
Power Horse. Fantastic.
I'm trying to find. There is one more
Power
member
Horse
of our group that we have not met yet. I don't know if he appears in the first one, if he's introed. Essentially, it's just a generic story to set up like, hey, here are your heroes. They're the good guys here. Here are the bad guys. The main villain of this story, we'll kind of introduce him here, and then we don't have to get into it more. His name, his AniMax, because they have animal.
They have their bad ones.
Yeah, they have their bad versions.
Yeah, sure.
But where for the good guys and for the AniMax, it's humans who wear like animal helmets.
Oh, okay.
The animal helmets they wear allow them to mentally talk to their AniMax.
Gotcha. Yeah.
But apparently you can't have that bond unless the helmet also looks like your AniMax, right?
Sure.
So
there's got to be a limit somewhere, right?
That's why Max Action has the lion helmet for his lion Jungle Max.
Yeah. Okay.
But the main villain,
I feel like you need like.
That's what I was gonna say. So the bad guys. I'm sorry. The bad guys while they have vehicles of their own, they aren't human drivers. They're animal drivers. I don't know why.
It feels like you need like a key at the bottom of this to tell you who is what and all that stuff, as you go through the stories.
Well, I mean, let's be honest. I think everybody kind of working on this knew that we're going to just try to
put out
get
this
something
garbage
out of this to, yeah.
Yeah.
What is his name though? Oh, okay. There we go. Our main villain, who I think at times looks pretty cool. He's the winged devil-looking creature on the cover. I don't know
Wiener
how
Max.
else to come. No, his name is
Max Wiener.
His name is Extinctor.
Extinctor.
But it's X-Tinctor. Extinctor.
Extinctor.
And his AniMax, I guess what you call it, is called Obliterator.
And what is it?
It's like a little...
Oh, it's a skull.
Goat.
It's like a devil skull.
Thing.
Like, it's frightening looking.
Yeah.
And it has no skin.
It doesn't. There's other bad guys with him that have names like, I don't know, like Rough Shot and like Gearbox or stuff like that.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
They're animals and they have their own evil like
Torque
AniMax that are like, one's a bull and one's like a warthog or like a boar of some sort.
Mm-hmm.
And one looks to be like a crocodile or something. Maybe it has
Crocamax.
Tell it out. Crocamax. The first story here though is very simple of like, hey, here's our good guys. Hey, here's our bad guys.
Mm-hmm.
The bad guys are coming in over the bridge here that they have that apparently connects the light side and the night side.
Yeah. Don't you feel like they really missed something by not calling it the dark side?
I do, but maybe they were afraid of like, I don't know, Star Wars will come after us. I don't know. Do you think?
Okay.
Do you think?
I just think night side sounds weird.
Maybe they were like, we don't want the kids to think it's evil. It's not dark. It's night.
It's night. Gotcha.
I don't know.
Maybe so.
Even though they're the bad guys. Anyway,
this does feel like it missed a real opportunity of going through like a group, that could, like a focus group.
Oh, yeah.
I feel like you put this through a focus group, it never comes out.
No. Well,
unless it's like 7-year-old boys.
But see, here's the thing. Like for the comics, like you can't fault them in a way for making it because, or at least in my opinion, the toys were already made.
Mm-hmm.
So there was already proof that somewhere along the way.
But you had to come up with that backstory, you know? I mean,
you did, but how easy is it for you at the time of where this is also in the 90s when wrongfully so, because this is going to lead to the bust that's about to happen. But they wanted to push out as many new titles so they could get, you know, new number ones or, hey, maybe this will catch. And so there were so many things that would just run for like 3 or 4 or 5 issues.
They were just throwing everything at the wall to see what.
Yeah, especially this Star Comics, which is an imprint from Marvel, which essentially made all of their licensed comics.
Is it?
That's where the Chuck Norris comics and stuff came from,
so
too.
Star was all
That's where, Star was all the licensed products from the time. I think that's where the Care Bears comics were made from. And that's where the
fancy ass Care Bear comics.
Yeah, the gross Super Balls or whatever, the bouncy ones.
Oh, the Mad Balls.
Yeah, there's 12 issues of that. I'm not gonna read 12 issues of that for us to talk about it.
The end.
Yeah, there you go. I mean, I'm sure I probably eventually will, but until I get to that point.
Were there any Garbage Pail Kids comics?
I'm sure there were. There's comics for everything.
Yeah, there had to be. Yeah.
There's a 12-issue Marvel run in the early 90s that they did with WCW that I so want to do.
Oh, wow.
That I've never read it. I've just seen like pages from it where there's one where Sting's in the hospital with this kid and Sting goes, or not Sting, the kid goes, "Can I be like you one day?" And the nurse says, I don't know why the nurse tells him like, "No, unfortunately, Sting's not some superhero who has powers that can heal you, but he can make you an honorary Stinger or make it an honorary Stinger fan club." It's just like, it's bad. Anyway, back to
should
AniMax.
Cure my cancer.
We'll come back to it. Back to AniMax. So it's just a generic story to set that up. We get to see what the evil, it's like an evil hog.
Yeah, it's a warthog. Sure.
Kind of, again, all the bad guys are animals instead of humans too, and they drive animal vehicles, which is very weird.
And they're like ugly animals too.
Super
like
ugly.
Yeah, mean animals.
We find out that if you fall off these, well, I don't know about obviously, but if you fall off this bridge, there's things that will grab you and pull you down in there. It's kind of like a bottomless pit.
Sure.
Then eventually Max Action and the AniMax save the day and they cause a retreat. And so that is like hey, here's the world of, AniMax. And
you have, I can tell that you've read comics for a long, long time, because when you can say the words Max Power and not even flinch. Max Action. Either one. But when you can say that and not flinch, you're doing a great job.
Well, I don't know.
Power Horse.
I mean, sometimes name to me isn't the problem.
Sure.
It's more just story, because sometimes things sound really cool to some people and just not cool to other people, and I get that.
I don't think Max Action, or what is it, Action or Power?
Action.
I don't think Max Action has ever been cool.
But
to anyone.
Fine, fair enough. The beauty is now that you know the backstory.
Yes.
I don't have to set that part up as we go through these, so we can get right into the story as we dive into issue 1 of the much anticipated. Now, the public didn't see that at the time. Eventually, everybody's able to see that now.
Sure.
But this is issue 1 we got, and it's very much the same thing in a way of where the bad guys are trying to attack AniMax, but instead we open with Jungle Max has been hurt, and Max Action is laying mortally wounded in front of Jungle Max.
His lion head came off.
Yeah, he was hit so hard it knocked his lion head off, and maybe it was the color too.
This bad guy is crazy looking.
Right, he kind of looks cool though, right? Once he's colored. Yeah.
Well, he does have a little Nazi kind of thing going for him.
Oh yeah, it's the comics. How is it easy to kind of recognize that? Yeah, you can just kind of draw him a little German soldiery looking, and people will think back.
He's got 3 horns, though.
He does.
It's crazy.
So essentially, whatever their plan was worked, and they were able to ambush Max Action. They retreat as the rest of the AniMax show up there to go ahead and save Max Action. but they realize, oh no, they're too late. And they have a very sad moment. Here is our fifth member that I did not get to introduce last time.
Okay.
Because he didn't show up in the...
Is he the red
I could
shirt?
be wrong. No, I'm looking for him on the back.
I'm just saying, like on
here.
Star Trek, is he the red shirt? As soon as he shows up, he dies.
Oh. No, 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, no, there's only 4 of them on here. So he was added, I guess, later. But his name is Tuskor. And he has the...
Tuskor.
Yeah. He has the elephant-themed humongous holler.
Humongous
Holler.
hauler.
Holler.
Okay.
Not holler.
Not
I'm sorry.
holla.
No.
Holla back.
My accent.
Enormous.
The humongous holler.
Hauler. As in like dump truck.
No, it's like a car carrier kind of thing.
Oh, okay.
But so they realize, oh, we have to get Mac.
This is my favorite panel right here, where the thing just says snort real loud.
That's the thing too, is so they can talk to their animals with their helmets, like mentally.
Mm-hmm.
But these animal like machine cars have minds of their own, of where they'll like, well, you know, the rhino kind of like gored the enemy on his own. He's not told to by the. So it's weird. These things are kind of like living creatures.
Sure.
Right? Well, I mean, they are living creatures.
It should be. Yeah.
But so they realize they
This
have
all
to
makes
take
perfect sense.
they have to take Max Action back to their home base. Do you want to think where? Not the jungle lair. The jungle lair comes up later, but they have to go.
It's
back.
a zoo.
No.
No?
Where's the city they live at? What do you think the main hub for AniMax is? They got to load Max Action up and take him back to Peopleopolis.
Peopleopolis. Oh,
But
wow.
while they take Max Action back to Peopleopolis, because it looks like Max is about to die, Jungle Max is going to get
he just licks his head.
He's about to get on the dragway of doom and head. Hold on.
Good God.
And head towards the AniMax graveyard, because he's hurt too.
I just got to say, the comics died for a reason. For a while.
I still love comics.
It just died for a reason.
They never died. They were always great.
Yeah, okay.
And so
baseball cards are worth thousands.
I love baseball cards too. Mm-hmm. So the car leaves to drive to the graveyard off the dragway of doom, and they go take Max Action back to kind of parade him around Peopleopolis the same way they put Lincoln on the train after he was.
Yeah.
So they get back there.
Trotsky in a glass coffin.
And all the evil, they also call the evil guys motor mutants.
Oh.
Is their name as a whole.
That's not as bad.
The motor mutants.
Motor mutants are not as bad as Dragway of Doom.
That's true.
Yeah.
But so we get to see that this was like the motor mutants plan all along. Once they've got rid of Max Action, who's their leader,
sure.
Peopleopolis will, they'll be able to topple, and now they'll run the light side too, right?
They'll topple Peopleopolis.
Topple Peopleopolis. Hello, I'm George Topple Peopleopolis.
Are you a people?
Oh man, for ABC News.
George Topple Peopleopolis.
Topple Peopleopolis.
Topple Peopleopolis.
So they essentially carry him up through the Museum of, I guess, Human History, through the Great Seat of Peopleopolis, and they take him to the caretaker there, and they tell her that they've lost the heart of the AniMax because Max Action has died essentially.
Boy.
So the AniMax get together with the rest of like the politicians of Peopleopolis to decide what their next move is.
It is so crazy how different this is from the original.
Yeah.
One.
While the caretaker and her daughter take Max Action's body deep down into kind of like the basement area of the museum here. And her mother informs her. We find out that the girl's name is Heater.
Heater. Heater. Heater.
Heater's mom tells her that she's found this technology a long time ago, but she's been afraid of what people would do with it, having that power. Like she doesn't trust it.
Heater and her brother Coleman.
But it's kind of essentially cloning technology. And what they're able to do, Mike, is they're able to clone a new body of Max Action. Yeah. And then after the new body exists, they put a helmet and they're able to transfer mentally from the old dead Max Action into the new body of Max Action.
Max Action 2.
So
Now
they have
with
made a clone
more
of
action.
Max Action. Max Action is no longer dead. And as he's starting to wake up, the caretaker tells her daughter Heater, hey, go get Tiger, who's his best buddy, Tiger Tracker, or whatever his name is.
Words don't mean anything at this point.
No, that's what I'm just saying.
Yeah, daughter Heater.
Heater, to go get Tiger Tracker to let her know what's up.
Sure.
She goes, grabs him, brings him down, and he's like, what am I seeing here? And they essentially tell him what happened. He's like, I don't know. I can't be Max. Like, I know Max Action. You know, we were best friends, yada, yada, yada. But
he's no Max Action. I know Max Action.
Exactly. He's the best at everything.
That's right.
That's the thing. Every time they talk about Max Action, he is like the best at everything.
Well, it's right there in his name.
That's true. But you know, it's a little too, or things are getting a little too hectic there at Peopleopolis because the Motor Mutants have started to attack since Max Action is already taken care of.
Yeah, sure.
And so now they're even attacking while they're trying to finish cloning a new Max Action. He wakes just in time to save the rest of them from the attacking Motor Mutants.
So you're saying that they take a dead guy, they clone him into a new guy.
Yeah.
They put his consciousness in him, and he's able to
all of his memories. They're able to kind of like, his content.
He's able to just jump right up off the table and start kicking ass.
Yes.
Okay, great.
He does never feel like the original Max Action, though. I'll kind of give you that.
Oh,
so I guess
existentially.
Yeah. We're
Okay.
gonna add that too. So
Sure. Kids love existential crisis.
they do for sure, especially like 5 to 7 year olds.
Yep.
That's what my nephew tells me all the time. I was like, "Hey, buddy, how was that Minecraft video you watched?" And he was like, "They built really cool stuff, but where's the character development?" Man?
Right.
I'm
I
like,
feel so hollow after watching
exactly.
this. Yeah. What is our purpose?
No, life's getting tough, man.
Minecraft video, you just said.
I did.
Okay.
So I was trying to be like, what did
Sure.
you watch on
What do the
YouTube?
kids love?
Yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know. Something that'll
They
never
love
go
the
over, but
Minecrafts.
They do. They always
Sure.
do. But so the clone ends up saving them. They realize that they need to get out
Yeah.
and they need to go rescue Jungle Max then.
Well,
Since
yeah.
Max Action's back,
Sure.
they need to rescue him from the dragway of doom before he
Max
gets
Action's
off to
back. All right.
the graveyard of, AniMaxes.
Sure.
So the alarm sounds off to let everybody know that the gates of Peopleopolis have been breached, essentially.
Sure.
Tiger Tracker needs to get his Tiger car. Tiger Tracker is the car. I don't know.
Good God.
Essentially, he and Max Action hop in the Tiger car and they decide we're going to go hunt down Jungle Max, right? We're going to hunt him down for you. And we're going to help take back and push back the mutants here. So they're able to jump over the line of incoming Motor Mutants through technology. They just kind of burst out the side of the wall of
look at 'em go.
Peopleopolis.
Sure. Well, they had a trap door.
Yeah, and they head off towards trying to hunt down Jungle Max before he kills himself, essentially.
Yeah.
But it doesn't matter because Extinctor thinks it's too late as he's ready
Extinctor.
for the siege of Peopleopolis
The siege of Peopleopolis.
to end
Wow.
issue 1.
Gun it, you scum. That's what it says.
So I think that's a perfect spot for us to go ahead and take a break.
Yeah, let's take a break before we get into the siege of Peopleopolis. Max finds the dragway of doom, the tiger stand alone, and Extinctor visits Peopleopolis. Be here.
Yeah. Okay.
Break time.
All that. And we're back.
Hey.
I don't know why I feel like I have to have so much energy coming
Yeah,
back in.
you've got a lot of energy.
Nobody has ever said that about me. My therapist would disagree. So, I kid. Now, it went from
kid.
a siege. There.
Okay. All right. So siege of
It went from a
Peopleopolis.
siege to the cover. It's a full-blown war now.
Oh yeah. Well,
I don't know what happened between... There's no like
Well, they
tie-in
got those-
issues for us
They
to
got those
know.
blue warthogs.
Yeah, it's
all
all the
popped out.
pigs. They kind of look
All
like...
the pigs.
I feel like these are villains from the Battletoads game. That's what they kind of look like. So, in
Battletoads.
issue 2 here of AniMax, what we get is Tiger.
Once again, poor Captain America
Oh, for sure.
being in that little square on the
The
front
little
of
square because
yeah.
they have to. Yeah, the Marvel imprint. Well, he's done okay now, at least as a character.
Sure.
But so they finally get, I love this part of it. They finally get to away from the motor mutants, Tiger Tracker and Max Action.
Mm-hmm.
What is this place called? There's a name for the jungle. I guess it's just the jungle itself. Anyway, they're trying to find the Dragway of Doom.
This is obviously a jungle in the light side.
On the light side,
Yeah.
that's right.
Okay.
They have no way of communicating to these other animals. And if you're wondering what the other animals I mean when I talk about, that's right. There's little rabbits and bears and foxes with like motors on their backs.
Yeah, look at them go.
There's like forest woodland animaxes. And he kind of tells them, hey, I know you can't understand me because I don't have a helmet to communicate with you mentally, but I'm trying to hunt down this, all that. Somehow they understand him, and a bear and a fox Animax offer Max Action their backs to take him to the Dragway of Doom.
So he literally has two animals under his feet
that are going
as like
to
little
race him
animal
to
skateboard.
Yep.
It's roller skates.
And so they
Wonderful.
take him to find.
There's no explanation as to how they understood him.
No,
Okay, great.
not that I remember. It's not that important. So, I mean, I can go back and look if you want.
No.
Thank
I'm
you.
good. I'm good.
So, oh man,
The national nightmare is almost over.
no, they're not. They're fun, but I try to give it
got
away
you.
without diving
Sure.
into everything.
Sure.
I don't remember. Let me
No. Don't.
No,
do
no.
it.
Here
Don't do it.
it is. Without my helmet, I can't communicate with them. But they're turning around, offering me their backs.
No.
There's our answer. They'll take you as far as they can, and maybe it'll be far enough. And that is your explanation.
Okay. So none.
Yeah. But so while Max Action heads off to go find Jungle Max, which is the lion giant creature.
Oh God, they're burned in my memory.
Okay.
Yeah.
I got see, these are the two main ones. The rest I understand if you don't
sure.
remember. The Tiger Tracker is met by the motor mutants who have been following them. They finally catch up to him.
Yeah.
So he tries to hold them off while to give Max time to go find Jungle Max.
Right. Sure.
We then see Jungle Max, who has found the Dragway of Doom, who is essentially, this is just so sad to read. Or at least when I read it, it was. And at last, the boles of the great trees seem to part before him, and the
Bowls?
B-O-L-E-S, boles? Boils?
Say that one more time.
B-O-L-E-S, boils, bowls?
Balls?
Balls?
Is it supposed to say bowels?
B-O-L-E-S, I don't know.
Okay. The bowls of the trees.
Seemed to part before him. The goal he would
bees with
go.
the knees.
The road that every Animax must one day travel waits for its rider with infinite patience. Like a siren, the road calls. And caught in that enchanted spell, the rider glides effortlessly out of the waking world and into a dream. The Dragway of Doom has summoned, and no Animax who rides the hidden way has ever returned.
Wow.
And then it shows Jungle Max, and he is very sad.
He is very sad.
Like,
Look
it's
at him.
like, I'm just driving to my death, guys.
Poor lion.
Yeah.
Car. Lion car.
We get shots back in Peopleopolis that it's really not that important of where.
That is the dumbest name.
Peopleopolis?
Yep.
But where Extinctor is there, and, they're gaining forces, and they're getting ready to rain on Peopleopolis. He can control the weather somehow with a gun that he has. That's his power. The main villains, there's a lot of lightning, thunderstorms, things like that.
With a world that's not spinning anymore, I would think weather would be very valuable.
The fox and the bear that
Love that Disney movie.
that gladly offered their backs to Max Action to take him to the Dragway of Doom. Okay. They get there and they're too afraid to enter onto the Dragway of Doom for obvious reasons.
I would be too.
Because it's the road you take when you die.
Sure.
And he goes, hold on. Oh, there's also, we talked about self-reflection. I'll read through this passage as they have gotten there to it. It's
okay.
He's thinking to himself while he's saying out loud, because he can tell that they're scared once they get there.
Yeah.
Even without an animental helmet, I can feel your dread, little friends, is what he tells them once they get to the road.
Animental helmet.
So he can read there. But maybe you can feel my hope and know that we have to take the road the same as Jungle Max. And then it's a thought bubble. Because even though I feel like I'm the same Max Action as before, I know that I'm brand new, untried, untested. I have the thoughts and skills of Max Action, but do I have his soul?
For a second there, I didn't know who was talking, but this is Max Action too. No,
Max
it's you.
Action
It's not you. It's me. I promise.
It's you. I know. I get it.
Definitely me.
It usually is.
Yeah.
Only I can talk to Jungle Max through the animental lion helmet. Then will the rest of the road trainers and the citizens of Peopleopolis believe that I am the real Max Action.
It's just super garbage words is what that is. That's just...
So right now, the only people, if you're taking score at home, that know that Max Action is a clone is the second Max Action himself.
Yeah.
His tiger tracking buddy.
Mm-hmm.
And, I'm sorry. And when the Motor Mutants attacked Peopleopolis, through everything, the caretaker, Heater's mom, is killed.
Oh no!
So the only also Heater knows that Max is a clone.
Sure,
that's it.
Well, she's Heater.
Yeah, right.
Heater.
The Heater knows all. So he talks the two little baby Animaxes into getting on that dragway of doom and hauling after Jungle Max.
And you're talking about the two that he's riding on with his feet.
Yeah, kind of like skates.
Yeah.
We cut back to Peopleopolis. Extinctors trying to break into the city more, but Rhinox and the other Animax are holding them off. They're really just side characters.
Sure.
Max Action is the main focus through this. We finally see that he's gotten to the Animax graveyard, which ends in an Evel Knievel style just jump to your death, apparently.
Yeah, it's a huge ramp.
But they built it where it's like they were building the road and just quit building. Doesn't it kind of look like that?
I don't know how it's held up.
I don't know either. There's no support system, but
because it starts like stories above the ground, and then just like it's like a Hot Wheels track that just stops.
Yep, like he's supposed to fly off of it. They get there right in time as Jungle Max has started his descent down. Max Payne has to reach into Jungle Max's seat to get the lion helmet. Max Action.
You said Max Payne. Yeah.
There's so many.
Yeah. I get it. Sure. No, I get it.
Probably said Max Power throughout.
No, you
probably said correctly.
Max Payne is
Max Action a couple times. Max Payne was a video game character, and then Marky Mark played him in. Mark Wahlberg played him in that movie.
Terrible,
the game's okay from what I recall.
No, the game's fine. The movie's terrible
since it's come out.
It's like Hitman. Hitman's bad too.
The video game's fun.
Video game's good. The movie sucks.
But he's able to reach in and get the lion helmet that they left in his seat since they thought, Max Action's dead. He doesn't need it.
Can you think of a really good video game movie?
There's not many.
Most of them are terrible.
I would argue that Uncharted. Here's what I'll say.
Do not say Uncharted. Come on.
It wasn't.
Why is Mark Wahlberg in so many of them?
Okay, I don't understand that either. I don't think that you can do. No, there's not one. There's not one.
So the only one that comes to my mind is Last of Us.
But it's a TV show.
It's a TV show. It should be a 9-hour movie or whatever, but
that's the thing.
Very well done.
The problem is it's hard to take when people are like, this video game had such a good story.
Yeah.
It's hard to take, and
compress it.
8 hours of video game story, because even in some instances, if it's, let's say, just 4 hours of cinematics through the whole thing,
right?
Even the missions you play, like tensions building, things, it's kind of natural storytelling through the whole thing. It's hard to fit that experience into an hour and a half, 2 hours.
But I'll be damned if studios don't want to do it over and over and over and over. Exactly. Even the Resident Evil movies, they're not great.
Well, yeah, but they're not really based off the games that much either. They just kind of went off name-wise. But
yeah.
They did their own thing, and I guess they found an audience.
Anytime there's a video game movie, I can't care. because I've been fooled too many times thinking it was good.
No, I get that.
It's just like Stephen King movies, honestly. Stephen King movies, I don't have a lot of faith in a lot of them. It's because there's been so many bad ones.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, screw me once and then send me Maximum Overdrive and I'm done, you know? And then you get the studio involvement, which is something like Dark Tower, which was an abomination. Everybody thinks they're so smart and they're just cashing in on IP is all it is.
No, you're completely right. That's to the point where, no, but that's to the point where we are with media in general, is it seems like companies are just trying to get as many IPs as they can.
Yeah.
And they're just wanting to milk as much of it as they can out of it.
Star Wars.
And once it's done, they don't care.
Marvel.
They'll find another IP. Well, no, I don't think it's necessarily part of it's Marvel, but it's Disney doing it to Marvel in a way.
No,
too.
I get that. Yeah. No, I'm just saying those IP. Marvel and Star Wars. Come on. Yeah.
But not to say that Marvel hasn't done it themselves, because they're in the 90s again.
Yeah. When
they were trying to take advantage of everything, they were the ones constantly putting out new number ones because they found out they were selling them and stuff. And while it wasn't the people who loved the business or who were working in the actual making of comics who did it, it was the owners of the company being greedy and just looking at it as, hey, this makes us money. Let's do that. And just Punisher. Again, even at the time, wrinkling out, ooh, okay, this is going to be, well, here's the thing. You brought up, this is a big spoiler alert if you read comics. And we have like 8 people who listen. So
Isn't he dead or something?
For you. Huh?
Didn't he die or something?
Yeah, that happened this week.
That's what I thought.
In the actual current Marvel universe, they ended the current Punisher series where he's dead.
Yeah.
Not only that, before they did that, they changed it to where the Punisher symbol was completely different too.
I saw that. Yeah, they took his skull and changed
it's
it
like
completely.
It's and I kind of
they
understand.
got scared.
Well, the thing to me is, you missed the mark. I don't want to get on a soapbox, but they completely missed the mark on what the character was.
Yeah,
the character was never supposed to be glorified. It's supposed to be like, hey, look at this man focusing on his revenge all the time, and he gets lost in it and he turns into a shell. You know, it's a cautionary tale of just look at what it could do to this person. And instead, certain people ruin it for other people.
Yes.
So,
well, and as we know in comics, if you die, you're dead. I mean, you can never come back.
Yeah, that's the thing too. It's not like that if they really
it's just
wanted
a stunt, man. That's all it is. At some point, they're going to go, all new Punisher, he's back.
Yeah. No, nobody stays dead.
Superman's dead.
Nobody usually, it seems like in comics, nobody stays dead or nothing seems to, hopefully in some instances, some stuff will remain unprinted. But usually most stuff will eventually be printed too at some point in time. Granted, there's like periods of, 30, 40 years where Marvel wouldn't reprint things. But anyway, so let's go ahead and wrap up issue 2 real quick. So he's able to get the lion helmet on in time and talk mentally to Jungle Max.
That was close.
And get him to stop, as well as his other little buddies, get them to stop. And they're able to turn around and head back. But, I'm sorry, before they left them to go get Jungle Max, they gave him essentially like a fuel tank for him to give Jungle Max to help him feel better.
Yeah.
And Max Action tells him that the caretaker's daughter, Heater, gave it to me. It's a special fuel and sealant mixture. And they don't have, like you would think, like, all right, you put gas into your car.
Yeah, because where are you going to put it in an animal?
No, he just opens his mouth and he pours it down his mouth.
Oh, sure. Yeah. Well, it's either that or the butthole, one or the other. So
he also tells them, I think they used it, or they used to use it in the olden times to launch rockets to the moon. So I guess it's jet fuel.
Freaking jet fuel?
Yeah, and that brings them to
life. This is the first time I've noticed that the poor lion car has flames on his feet.
Design, though. It's not.
But I'm saying. It just seems unnecessary.
That is true. Well, it's getting kind of tough for Tiger to hold off all those mutants that he's been holding off while Max Action's been trying to get Jungle Max. But Max Action, go ahead.
Can I ask you something?
I might have an answer.
The guy that's on this Tiger
Tracker.
Okay,
or maybe that's the car. Whoever.
And the guy that's sitting on top. Is that not a He-Man thing? Also, wasn't there a He-Man character that looked just like that? On the back of a tiger, the guy's sitting on top of it, has a gun, Is that not a He-Man thing?
Kind of. It looks similar to his tiger had that thing where it had like the mask
Yeah.
on it.
Yeah.
I don't remember a gun.
This just reminds me of a whole He-Man thing right here. This guy sitting on the back of a tiger car with a gun. And
Well, I feel like
all
there are
this.
a lot of similarities.
Yeah,
between all
I
of
think
that.
so too. Yeah.
But
Maybe that's what I was thinking when I saw the first one.
That could be it.
Yeah.
Max Action is able to return in time to help scare off the rest of the motor mutants who think
Thank
they've
God.
seen a ghost because, hey, we killed Max Action.
Oh no.
What's he doing there? We go back to Peopleopolis where Extinctors finally had enough. And he's telling Obliterator, which is his like devil horn animal thing,
Yeah.
to ram the front gates, to keep ramming it with his horns.
Mm-hmm.
And he's able to finally break through. And I'm telling you, with the colors, he looks really cool in this.
Well, he looks like Satan is what he looks like. Yeah.
But compared to a lot of stuff where it's kind of over the top and stuff, like he's just the kind of flashy, just kind of
I love
cool
this
color.
panel where
Yeah.
he's got both arms out and he's just like cackling and saying evil stuff.
But then as soon as he busts through finally, Tiger Tracker and Max Action both show back up at Peopleopolis too.
Yeah.
And they too, oh no, wait, are we there
They
yet?
go enjoy a wonderful McDonald's McFlurry.
So they get back and everybody realizes, what? Max Action's still alive. Oh, this is crazy. We thought he was dead because they don't tell the other members that he's a clone.
Oh, yeah.
And they're able to scare away the motor mutants away from Peopleopolis.
Thank God.
But don't worry, it's not over because as Extinctor is sitting there plotting back on the night side, excuse me,
He's
not to be
Skeletor.
confused with the dark side.
Yeah.
He's thinking to himself and he's like, you know what? The time has finally come for retread, to walk the light side. Retread.
Okay.
Not the one from US one.
Yeah.
His idiot buddy or,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah.
Excuse me. Then we get to end this issue.
You got a tiger in your throat. That's
I got
unnecessary,
AniMax in
but
my-
sure. Okay.
Well, no, that was the AniMax in my
get
throat
it,
getting
yeah.
started up. Sorry. Yeah, I'm sure the six people who
love that.
loved it.
Love that.
Somebody
sound.
might have been trying to go to sleep and they're like, finally, they're yeah, sorry.
Yeah.
But
I'm not sure that our voices are the ones they want to go to sleep with.
Very true. Very
Okay.
true. They end this issue with a very Rocky and Bullwinkle style panel that says, next issue. Sorry, I sucked water. I sucked air in the wrong way. We get ready for that. Let's try that again. Next issue, I have not yet begun to fight or the retread plot. Dun, dun, like you remember how?
Oh
they were all-
yeah.
So that ends
That's
issue
wonderful.
2. And Mike, I know we would usually just hop right into the next one, but I think now is a good time because you are going to be out of town.
I am.
You were heading to the Pacific Northwest.
I am.
I'm sorry to give that much away
That's
without. But can
Track
I
me down,
for a
suckers.
vacation?
So going to see my daughter who lives in Seattle, or outside of Seattle,
Oh, well,
and then just taking a couple of days with the wife to do some fun stuff.
so because that is happening, we are going to turn this.
We're buying the Seattle Mariners.
Oh, that'll be awesome. I'll have to
great.
come there
Yeah.
once you do that. But because of that, we're turning What Would We Want issue or
Yeah.
episode into 2.
Yeah.
So that is where we'll end right now. When we come back, we will finish up the series with issue 3 and 4 of AniMax. As always, if you want to email us, feel free to send us an email, brosfoesandheroes@gmail.com. Also, make sure to check out roguemedianetwork.com
RogueMediaNetwork.com.
for a ton of other great podcasts in the podcast family.
Yeah, buddy.
So, as always, want to thank you for listening. And until next time, stay safe, everybody.
Golly con.
Pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about pros and heroes. Gonna tell you about.
This has been a Rogue Media podcast.